ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track, and ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
Welcome to Worse Than You with Mo Fry Pasick. I'm Mo, and every week I'm asking today's most captivating artists how they got their acts together. Now, this show is not about their best or most famous work, but it's about the work that means the most to them, how it exemplifies their creative process, and why they make their art. This week's guests are comedians, writers, and performers. Together, they've headlined comedy festivals across the U.S., co-written and co-starred in Comedy Central digital series, and served as supervising producers and head writers of a pilot for Amber Tamblyn. Their new short film, Apocalypse Besties, will have its world premiere at the Tribeca Film Festival this June. Please welcome to the pod, Becky, Chicoine, and Sam Reece, a.k.a. Girls with Brown Hair. Ready, set, show!
Whoa.
Wow. Party rock is in the
Tonight. Can we get the rights to that?
Yeah. No, yeah. I feel like that would be like one eyelash bat away from
it wouldn't be too hard. They're like, yeah, we'd love to give you the rights, actually.
Please use this.
Yeah. But I get a cease and desist now.
Please use this. It's only for clout, so we can, set up a lawsuit.
Actually, if anything, I think the Love Island
100%.
producers would sue you. I feel like that's a song they use. I don't know. I have no proof.
I wish. Can I tell? If they used, that would be a convergence of the things I love most in this world.
If they used.
Getting sued in Love Island.
If Party Rock played on Love Island, you would have to come do a wellness check on me because I'd be so happy. I would just run into a wall.
Good to know.
That's right. Okay, you're a big Love Island aficionado.
In a way where it's like a guy knows about like the 1993, like Ken Griffey Jr., 91, like whatever game. Like I know about Love Island people. And I love it.
That's incredible.
And that's my art.
There's soon to be a class at NYU, the Love Island historian.
Oh, add it to the profile.
I mean,
Love
add
Island
it to the
historian.
If they want sort of like, what is it, an adjunct professor that can teach and how you can pattern out how someone's going to go because of the way they come in. Yeah, powerful. Okay, I already got a syllabus.
I'm enrolled.
Sign me up, babe.
Baby, sit down. Yeah. and girls, you're TAs. You don't.
Okay, I've not seen a single episode of Love. No, that's a lie. I have with Sam. Sam has introduced me to the world of Love Island.
Wait, okay. Are you like an obsessive? Are you in a US? Are you in English? What are we?
I would say I'm like a UK Australia cusp lover.
You're in Australia. Australia is on the verge of its US season 6 moment.
Wow. Huge.
It's season 6. So like what I would describe is US Love Island for the first 5 seasons was like an MTV show where people were like,
bad.
okay, whatever. It's like kind of trashy.
Okay.
And then they had this explosive cast that it was just like a perfect storm. And it was one of the most viral things in the planet. Like it was so good. Now they have a spinoff show.
Do they?
Yeah.
What is it called?
I don't know. It's about all of them living in LA and it's premiering this summer.
Stop.
We're so back.
The real Love Island. Okay, and that's actually important to both of your art. I know that. So please welcome my dear friends. I would love to talk today to you two, who I've known for over a decade now, I want to say.
For sure.
I would love to talk to you two about so many things in your process as a duo, creatively, individually. But I'd love to start with the Too Long Didn't Read of your upcoming short film.
Uh-oh.
TLDR.
TLDR.
You want the log line?
I want whatever. You're free to not be bound by the branding.
Great.
But if you want to give the log line, amazing.
Well, listen, TLDR, we wanted to work on something new. And so we sat down and we wrote a short film in 2 weeks. And then we forced ourselves to start a Seed and Spark to crowdfund for it. And a year later, it is premiering at Tribeca.
And the summary of the logline of the film is 2 idiot millennial women who have no hard skills accidentally survive an apocalypse. And that's it.
Hard
What's going to
skills is an
happen?
incredible phrase. Hard skills is such a good phrase.
No hard skills. No hard skills. That was kind of the thing where it's like, okay, well, I don't know how to start a fire. Sam is also a Survivor aficionado, but learned nothing.
Yeah. I watch it every week. I know nothing. Wouldn't survive a day.
Sure. I think it's soothing to watch, to know that other people would.
People train for it, you know?
train for
not
it.
me.
Listen, we're riddled with the apocalypse content, but we kind of thought, like, what if it was like funny and with people that are kind of stupid and can't really do anything and wasn't like The Last of Us and wasn't like, because we sort of feel like in this day and age, we sort of feel like we're in a real apocalypse, right?
Not no.
So we were like, hey,
that's what
we
I
have to
said.
laugh through it and it just can't be dramatic anymore.
And truly, like, if the world was ending tomorrow and we found out, like, I would go get coffee and be like, well, let me be with my friends. I don't know.
Here's my thing. Like when the fires hit here, and it was like we couldn't drive because it was 100-mile winds.
Right.
2 trees had blocked my road, and come down, and then fires were coming. And it does feel like the where people are like, get the water, get the thing. And
yeah.
like, I'm just sitting in my car with my cat. And I'm like, brother.
You and me.
Truly, Sam and I were really talking about this because that happened after we made the short. But like,
Yeah.
I'm packing a bag and I was like, do I bring my wedding dress? And I'm like, what? I don't care. Like, what? Like, what?
My wedding dress.
Truly, I was
but
like-
then they're like, bring the emotional thing. So then oh my God, I have like my great grandfather's like World War I medals. And I was like, I'm in a fucking San Diego Marriott with my World War I medal.
Yes.
What are we talking about here?
I
Like,
packed
what?
like I was going to have to fight the fires myself. I put on like my heaviest boots. I packed tin fish, which I've never tried in my whole life. And then we drove up to San Diego as well. And it's like, I brought sweaters. It's the same weather.
And
Yeah.
and what
In
I'll,
LA.
I feel like it.
and what I'll say, we my husband and I went to Sam's place. We went to Silver Lake.
After Sam had left.
Yep. We said, well, I think Silver Lake's further from where we are from the fire, so we'll just go to Sam's.
So funny. That is just so funny for someone to escape their house and then someone else just escape to the house. Like that was it was
Yeah.
like that is giving Mr. Magoo the house down.
I went full bangs. Becky went half bangs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah.
We're talking about the emotional gradient we're all embodying today, and it's no bangs, medium bangs, full bangs.
Yes. Thank you.
Perfect.
But what I'm excited about your piece, because it's like, one, I think a lot of us are craving just comedy
Yeah.
right now, right? Because even in the funny sort of apocalypse stuff, the person still does become the, apocalypse fighter, full hero, like has those skills. And I got to see it on stage.
That's right.
Wait, I forgot in this moment. You do know the twist. You do know the twist.
I love the twist. But what was so fun to me is that, like, talk about process, like to put something onto a stage knowing it's for a film. Like, so much people are like, are you going to develop it into something, blah, 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 if you do a stage piece? So work me through what that process was of, like, for the Seed and Spark. Was it for the money? Was it for, like, data of, like, how these things hit? Like, what was the stage process of all this?
If you can believe it, it was because we had scheduled a Thanksgiving special show and we had scheduled 2 and only one of them sold tickets. So we canceled the second one and rescheduled it to April or whenever that was.
It was April, yeah.
And we were like, well, let's challenge ourselves to do something new, which I think is an important thing to talk about. But we were like, why not just sort of adapt this for the stage a little bit and try that?
Yeah, so we already had written the short film, and I think we had started already crowdfunding, I believe.
I think so,
Yes.
yeah.
We already started crowdfunding,
Yeah.
and we had the
Yeah,
show,
yeah.
and we're like,
Yeah.
let's now take the short film and adapt it to the stage. So we kind of like blew it out a little bit, and we were like, it's just like a 1-act play. So I think it ended up running like 30, 35 minutes on stage, maybe. We had 2 openers, which made it a full show.
Yeah.
And after we had done it, we were like, oh my God, that was so funny. I almost wish we were doing a run of the show before
Yeah.
we shoot the short.
Literally, it was so infectious. It was so fun on stage.
We were like, oh no, now we're shooting the short. I guess we can't really do it as a play anymore. So we kind of.
But listen, there's no rules. So
There's no
after
rules.
premieres, we could.
We could.
And I would.
You could. Would you think about that? Yeah.
I think it's so beautiful that so many different creative ideas can be developed in so many different ways. You know, it's all going to be its own
Yeah.
piece wherever it lives. And I think I would be open to that.
Wow, Sam. I guess I would too.
Imagine it as a full play with a director.
Whoa. Whoa. And here's my thing, like some of these things, I can't wait for plays to have budgets because this is the kind of play where I want like full like somebody backstage like dropping something on the like on the stage. You know what I mean? Where it's like hijinks.
We're doing noises
babe.
off. Let's go.
Yeah, not no.
No. So yeah, I guess did that answer the question?
No, it 100% did, and we can get into you guys' process,
Yeah.
but it is what I know it to be, which is just improv, right? It's like, I think the thing that coming from those spaces teaches you guys and moving into sketch from there is such a lack of preciousness with how something manifests. Like, it's just like, I want this to be the most fun and resonate the most. Let's try it here. Let's try it in this place. Let's try it in this. And like, is this kind of how it works into you guys writing sketches for girls with brown hair? Becky, for the listeners.
Oh, sorry.
Big eye
Big
rolled.
nod.
Yeah.
Well, yes, like process in general for us is we like to get it on its feet. So even before when we first wrote the first draft of the short film,
Within 5 minutes of finishing the draft.
within 5 minutes of finishing the draft, we made Sam's partner Nikki sit in the living room and we said we're going to do it as a play
Like
for
5-year-olds.
Within 5 minutes.
like literally. And I think also that your cats were
Hey, we did something good. We did something good. Hey, can you watch? Can you watch?
And then I think we did it again when Matt came to like
Yes.
pick me up. We said, we're going to run it back. We're going to do it one more time. So Nikki always had joked before they saw the play that like they'd already seen it a few times, the private showing in their living room. Yeah.
Really.
And they had.
We like to perform and people ask us a lot like, oh, how much was improvised? And usually it's not much. Not much because at first in our process, we do improvise. Like we have it written out, but then we know there's moments where we can like let it breathe. And when we find funny things, then we like write that down. Like that's funny. Let's write it down. But then we just try to like keep our speech natural, you know, which, you know, since we wrote it, we can say whatever we want when we're filming it.
Famously.
You don't have to be precious with the words.
I do think the energy when we're shooting or when we're performing it is coming from improv. Like if it happens, it happens. But generally, like it is all very to the script that we have written. And we run every script like on the train to the performance, backstage, like we line through everything 1,000 times. So it feels so natural to us when we're doing it, which is like classic acting, I guess.
Classic acting.
I was going to say, it nods to you guys as both having a little bit of a theatery origin. You know what I mean? Like
It's a bit theatery.
And I would say not even a bit. Sam went to
I
a
love
full
it.
conservatory, Boston Conservatory.
I guess that's full theatery.
That's famously more than a bit.
That's famously more than a bit. I went to Madison, and that's famously only a little bit.
Come on, Bucky. Let's go, Bucky.
But I would say famously since birth, you've been
since
sort
birth.
of like fully theatrical. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, Becky. Also, it's whenever I'd be around like you two and Sudi, and like this was like early days before I could let everyone know I wasn't musical theater, and everyone just kind of assumed.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, you guys would be like referencing songs and be like, it's so this. I'd be like, yes, it is that character, and there are.
Yeah. You've got the legs of a rocket, you know. I mean, like,
and that constantly I get mistaken for a rocket, and they start talking to me about Evita. You know what I mean?
Well, Mo, you've been a showgirl on Broadway for years. Yeah. You know how it is.
Yeah, but yeah. Well, so you know what I'm talking about with Hedwig,
I
right?
understand.
Yeah.
Same.
I'll never forget. I was in I think it was either Anna Roisman or Krista Jensen. They had a birthday party at Hedwig. Like we all went, and I was in a full conversation for I want to say an hour. I thought I was having a stroke. The references, the words, because they are all so musical theater and they know everything. And it was like heavenly, but it was like, it was so fast. I couldn't even say, I don't know. And I was like, yeah, when they were cast original. Yes. Yeah. It was like, and then I went home. I was like, do I have to study? Like, do I have to study? Like, oh
It definitely does. The musical theater crowd can definitely be that way. I had a roommate after graduating college, I lived with an old friend of mine, Chris Pazernick, and he's the number one musical theater historian
sure.
you could ever know. I was going to say nerd, but
Let's say it what it is, historian.
Historian.
There's some respect.
And I learned very early on, if you're talking about a musical theater cast recording, it's not a soundtrack, okay? Because a soundtrack is to a film. And cast recording, so that is something. But it's like those little things, and
I love those.
everybody knows
I fear that happens in
So
my head
important.
now, and I have to stop myself from saying it out loud because I actually don't want to be that person anymore.
You don't want to be that person.
Anymore. You were.
5 immersive worlds, 1 amazing theme park. Get ready to explore the all-new Universal Epic Universe, featuring the wizarding world of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic, Super Nintendo World, How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk, and Dark Universe. Epic Universe opens May 22nd at Universal Orlando Resort. Our universe will never be the same. Tickets and packages on sale now at universalorlando.com.
Subtle results, still you, but with fewer lines. Botox Cosmetic, onabotulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
So there's so many folks that like want to be something and like have this idea of it. And so I'm wondering where that pivot came for both of you. Because, you know, you're going to a full conservatory. Becky, you are musical theater the house down. So it's like, you are, along with Mr. Magoo. But my thing is like, where does that pivot come in? Where do you go, oh, let me use this thing for comedy? Where did like, do you know what I mean? That perception of self when you're contributing.
Yeah, I've been kind of going through it because I started voice lessons for the first time in 14 years this week.
Wow, congrats.
Thank you. And it has me thinking a lot about this because the conservatory, I would say, killed my love for musical theater. I started hating singing, musical theater, that whole world, because it felt very reductive. Everybody's doing the same thing. You have to be a certain type of way. There's a lot of just stepping into the shoes of someone who's done the same thing over and over again. You know, there's not a lot of creativity within that world. And also, you have to be a certain type of person in order to succeed, unfortunately. Like,
describe them. And give me a name.
Physically, Mo. Energetically, Becky. No, it's just like you have to be kind of a shark. Which is fine. And you have to, I don't know, there's still types in theater that are really intense, and there's not a lot of room for straying from those types. And I think these days it's getting a little better, especially in like indie theater. I don't really know anymore, but at school I started to feel really, I don't know, left out and unsure of where I fit in. And so towards my like senior year, I was like, not necessarily like I'm going to quit, but I was definitely having doubts. And when I moved to the city, I saw a show at UCB, and then I was like, oh, these people are writing and performing their own shit. I'm going to do that. And that's when I started entering the cult, of course. And
don't regret it.
Don't regret it. Sorry. Oh, hold for Bill.
That's my son.
Affirmative bark. My favorite is when like there's tarot readers on TikTok and they'll be doing a pull and there'll be like an insane siren going by. They'll be like, affirmative siren. like those be like, and that, yes, that's
and I'm
exactly
that. Yes.
So funny.
Yeah. I love those.
I claim siren.
Yes. Drop a heart to claim this.
This is urgent. Spirit wants you to know this is urgent. Yeah.
Spirit wants you to know that the dog hates musical theater.
But yeah, I got to the city and started doing improv and sketch comedy, and then met Becky and started doing musical theater, and all of the parts sort of started clicking because throughout my theater career, I was always doing comedy, of course. So it just naturally transitioned into musical comedy and sketch. And, now I'm like, okay, the hard pivot I think was necessary in order for us to build the skill of what we have now. Like you have to throw yourself into it 100%. You have to stay in the basement with all your friends for 10 years and emerge.
Oh my God. I've never heard it said like that. I've never.
You have to stay in the basement.
That's what we did.
That's crazy. And then obviously like the thing that comes to mind is Triple Crown. Like that's literally where
Everything's
I am.
a
It's hot,
basement.
it's wet, there's mold. Like
The door
wow,
locks
incredible.
automatically. You have to have someone save you.
Oh my God, this is crazy. To describe you have to spend 10 years in a basement with your friends. We're Genie. We haven't been touched.
Oh,
That's us.
We're- It's sad.
I actually don't know that.
Oh my God, you don't know about Genie? They showed it in every Wisconsin public school.
Okay, then I'm sure that I do.
You
There's
do.
no way I
It was a
Somewhere
girl
in
that was
there.
locked to a radiator from like age 1, and it's dark, but I'm sure these true crime heads would love this. But then it was this
Wow.
study on development. So then they further exploited her because they were like, "What happens if you're not touched for 11 years?"
It can't be good.
And then you get paid and you
You
get
could have
paid in
just
drink
asked
tickets.
a bunch of comedians. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure Jeannie got paid in drink tickets. I wouldn't worry about it.
Hellish. We get sued by
worry
her
about her.
state. Yeah.
It's so, Sam, I feel like when we started, you were very much like, I want to get out of musical theater. Like there are times over the past 10 years that I was like, hey, would you want to take a dance class with me? And Sam would say, I'd rather die. I'd rather fucking die.
Really?
And I'm like, for sure.
Yeah.
Because
the joy was fully sucked out of it.
Oh,
yes.
Which is so funny to me because even like you had Broadway gals, it was like you have these characters that are so funny and so musical. And so to me, it's exciting because it's like a nod to the perception of musical theater. And so to know that like that whole time you're kind of pushing that away is so interesting to me.
Yeah, what's funny? It's like when I'm with Becky and we're in a wig and we're doing big characters, I have no problem dancing, singing, all the things. It's when it's just me and I'm, it's like, hey, what is that voice? Who is that person? And I think that's something I've been working on the past like 5 or so years and I'm more comfortable with now. But for a long time, it was something that I just like could not connect with. It sucked.
But I love you.
I love you too.
Yeah, I love it. Well, like Becky, how's that look for you? Because within a duo, it's so reinforcing, but also there is that dance with your own individual art.
For sure. Well, so I went to Madison and they didn't even have musical theater, right? I was theater and legal studies double major.
That's so funny.
So the joke's been for the past 15 years, I can play a lawyer on TV. And nobody's hired
we
me
go.
for that yet.
It's coming, Becky. I feel it. You in a
I feel
blazer
it.
is unstoppable.
Thank you.
I feel like a Christine Baranski, good whatever that is. Like, you know what I mean?
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. I'm Christine Baranski. That's correct.
You're gonna
No,
be on
but,
Elsbeth. I don't know.
What's that?
Oh, it's a spinoff of The
Shaking.
Good Wife. It's like a funny procedural.
I've never seen a single one of those things, but I reference The Good Wife a lot. Or The Good
That's-
Fight, which is
The
There-
Good
that's
Fight
also a
is also a
spinoff.
spinoff.
It's a whole world.
Okay.
Listen. Oh, cat.
a
Sorry.
Vanya sighting.
A Vanya
folks,
sighting.
Yeah.
No, but so you could do a musical theater major in that you could do theater and opera as a double major. And that's not for me. I wasn't opera. But I was in like, we did You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. I was in that. And we, I did a bunch of shows, whatever. But I always thought I wanted to be on SNL, classic, but I didn't understand, even as an adult, that you had to do improv, that you had to do comedy. I don't understand why that never, and so I was like, oh, I'm just going to like act and then I'll just like get on it. So I never did like improv in college, I think because I was so entrenched in the theater scene and it was like, oh, the improv kids are like,
That's so
Weird.
interesting, though. Yeah, no, but it's like, it's
Yeah.
also a perception of like maybe SNL being cool or people who are good at it, like turned actors.
yeah, I
guess.
mean, like, cause I was obsessed with it. Like I made in high school, we had forensics. You know what forensics is, Mo, right?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, you do too. Okay, some people don't know it.
They don't, and I think it's too entrenched now in like true crime. But forensics at the time was like it's like you got to essentially do skits that were like acting out different. It's like a version of debate. It was a version of like different. Like,
there were different categories. It was like debate, solo acting, play acting, which was group acting. So I made my friends. We did a group acting, and we did a Molly Shannon sketch that I'm 50 years old. I did that for forensics, so I could do the Molly Shannon part.
That's so sweet.
Still didn't quite know, like, hey, I should be doing improv. So it wasn't until I moved to New York that I was like, oh, as soon as I moved, I signed up for a UCB class, and then I was like, oh, I get it. Okay, this is how we're going to do it.
How did you find it?
And how did I find it? I don't remember. I think I just finally, because we like didn't have the internet the way that people do now. Somebody just must have said, oh, I know. Because, well, first I lived in Chicago for 2 years after I graduated. And then I knew about Second City, and I had friends there. And I still didn't do improv though in Chicago. I did musical theater. In fact, in the 2 years I lived in Chicago, I played the same stepsister in Into the Woods twice.
Shut
Two different productions, played the same stepsister. Yeah.
Did you like the second one? Did you say like, "Hey, I was this," or were you just like, "Oh, that role again, incredible"?
Yes. I mean, I just can't. I think I was understudy for Cinderella both times as well, and they were both like really equity productions. So yeah, I got my EMC points.
Pretty cool.
Okay,
Not
Mama.
to be insane, Mama.
EMC stubs.
We're so happy, you're so happy. That's for the musical theater heads. Okay. They'll know that.
And here we go again.
Sorry, I'm just stuck on you said EMC and then Mo said AMC stubs, baby.
Yeah. No.
Equity membership candidate, Mo. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
You don't have to pretend with us. It's okay.
No, I know what it is. You get $4 off once a month. I get it.
You can see 4 movies for free every month. Yeah, you know.
So funny. So anyway, cut to New York. I'm doing UCB, and then okay, what I was also like interviewing. I was also interviewing for Broadway, auditioning.
And the visual that comes to mind is Step Brothers when they're both in tuxes. Is like Becky going like, I'm interviewing for Broadway.
It was going really bad.
It's hard out there, man.
It's hard out there, but then I did.
It was weird.
But then I did book. Wait, I want it before I tell you what I booked and got my equity card. There was one audition for a summer stock show that was Urinetown. And you know, for the summer stock shows, you usually have to do a dance call first. And that was the worst thing because that's how that was bad. I just couldn't learn dances fast.
Sure.
I could fake it, but whatever.
Yeah.
So we did the dance call. I was so bad, but let me tell you, babe, I was selling.
Committed.
to the point where there was
Macarena.
Exactly. Facial was going off. It was popping off. And it's Urinetown, which is like really like comedy funny. You could be really insane. So they finished, the dance call was done. There was one group left and it was an uneven number. And the casting director goes, "Can we see Becky Chicoine again?" I was like, "Oh my God, this is it.
Don't do this to me."
First and last.
I was like, this is perfect. Yeah, I'm getting in. They want to give me another chance. I'm going to crush it. Did worse. I absolutely did worse. Made even crazier faces. And I just felt like I looked at them afterwards and they were like, yeah, we can't. She's bad. I don't know. Yeah, it's too bad. But
they missed out.
They did miss out. Thank you so much. You know, it was always like the dance call that I was like, I'm never going to get past the dance call. And I one time in college, I was in a play. It was a period piece, and I was like the maid or something, and I had like 6 lines. I was a French maid. I had 6 lines. And this is also like at Madison, we had an MFA program. Famously, I say this all the time, Carrie Coon was in it. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're friends.
I feel like the only person that came from Madison was Big.
No, it's Carrie Coon now.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay.
But usually it was just the plays that the university put on was just the MFA students. So when undergrad got in, it was like a huge deal. So I was in this play. I had 6 lines. And at one point we were rehearsing and I was sitting and my character had to like make eyes with the security guard. And then the director stopped and said, "Becky, you can't do that. You have this face and these eyes that people always look at you. So you need to." I was being a ham. I was being a bad actor. Yeah, pulling focus. But the way that she said it, I was like,
I love this.
Yeah, the way that she said it, I was like,
thank you.
I'm not a background actor. I really I truly hung on. I was like, I know I'm meant to be the star. Thank you so much, Susan Sweeney.
She looked at you like, full delusional. Thank you.
My eyes. You can't escape them.
And instead of being like, oh, hey, you're being a really bad actor. You need to,
Yeah,
this isn't
you're
about
pulling
you.
focus.
This scene isn't about you.
Oh, that's so sweet. It's
Anyway.
also like the best kind of delusion of like, people want to stare at my eyes and face. Oh, I guess I
Exactly.
am a leading person.
But I have really, this is probably for the end for like one of your end segments, but I've held on to that. But I've been like, oh, I'm not really a background actor. So like I held on to that through all the equity chorus calls, at auditioning for Broadway. I was like, well, it doesn't matter because I can't be in the chorus. There's no way.
That moment when you realize your skincare is actually working. That's Rodan and Fields, the #1 female dermatologist-founded skincare brand in the U.S. Designed by 2 dermatologists who don't just know women's skin, they know how to formulate for it. Rodan and Fields, love what you see. Tap the banner or visit rodanandfields.com/Spotify to get your exclusive welcome offer.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. 3 couples, 4 vacations, a lot to unpack. Watch The 4 Seasons, a new series starring comedy favorites Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and more in a hilarious and heartfelt love letter to long-term relationships. Based on the original Alan Alda film. Watch The 4 Seasons, streaming now only on Netflix.
I love this. I love this. Because guess what, though? Here's my thing. Is like a little bit short, hold on to the poem Delusion, but a little bit like, I do think a lot of people could benefit from knowing like, yeah, you stand out. Like, you're not going to do well. But it is like, you're not going to, and you're also not going to book.
Right.
Because you do need to carve something out for yourself because you don't fit that archetype that a lot of people are booking, but they think it says something on them. And it's like, no, you are magnetic. I do want to go, what's going on with that energy?
Good,
And,
thank
like,
you. Good, thank you.
Good, thank you. Good, thank you. I put my eyes. People want to stare at them. Okay. But it is. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good thing.
Which is why then we turned to comedy to be like, okay, I need to write my own stuff. I need to be able to figure out how to perform because I do love performing, but it never felt like this is such a typical thing, right? The Lena Dunham of it all, where it's like nobody's going to write something for me, so we got to write it for ourselves. And Lena Dunham is the only one that's done it, obviously.
Of course.
No. But then let's cut to what was it? I was in Improv 401. Sam, you only did the sketch program, right?
No.
Or you did do an improv class?
No, I did both, but I started with sketch.
She started with sketch. I started with improv. Then I went to sketch. And then we were interning together. And quite literally, our friend Claire Gilbertson, who was the head of interns at the time, she was like, hey, you guys both like musical theater, or you came from musical theater. You should do stuff together. And we were like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. And she was like, conveniently, I'm producing an intern showcase. Would you guys want to do something in it?
And we were like, okay, yeah. So we hosted.
I love this.
Oh, wait, no, that was later. We first just did
We did the first one. We hosted the second one.
the second one. Yeah.
Because you fucking killed.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But then from
I
there,
think that invitation is important though, because sometimes
Yes.
people are kind of like, I knew we needed to write. It's like, no, sometimes someone needs to be like, hey, go do that. You're like, it's like, that's huge.
Well, actually, you know what?
What?
Well, I think when we started, you and me, Sam, you had taken sketch and I hadn't taken it yet. And I was like,
You were
Let's
like, I'm not a writer.
I'm not a writer.
Yeah.
I'm not a writer. I was always
That's
like,
so
and you
funny
were
to
like,
think.
and Sam's like, oh, I am a writer. We'll write together. And I was like, well, I don't know how to do that, but I can improvise around the writing, And so like in that way,
Around the writing is incredible.
we'll just improvise it and it'll work. And so it was kind of like Sam was like writing the first couple of things for us. And then I feel like you were like, hey, just take a sketch class. And I was like, oh, yeah.
We had been interns for so long and they were like, just do whatever you want. It was very interesting. We were like, we can just take all the classes we want. And they were like, yeah, that's fine.
Oh, yeah.
It was like an era of interning where nobody gave a shit.
Well, it's also like that era too, where it's like the classes would fill up in 30 seconds.
Yes.
And it wasn't like you could get a text or a tweet. It would just like, you'd have to refresh it to see if it was going online.
Yeah, that was
And it was
crazy.
like,
Yes, I think we were in, I feel like I was an intern for like 2 years. So that's how I got to take classes. And then I started working at the theater, which is also how I got to like take more classes. But there was like, otherwise it's like, what do you mean 20-year-olds have to pay $600 for a 4-week class? What do you
Unreal.
mean?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I do think we're far from that now. Where it's so normal because it's like I interned, but the only available internship wasn't in the theater; it was at Tourco. So it was like in the
Right.
That's right. That's right.
yeah. Me and Matt worked together.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. My husband.
And literally, it was like to me because it was that thing where you're like, okay, I got to get in somehow, and you got to get that intern card so you can go to shows for free. Like,
You got to be in the basement.
You had to be locked
gotta
in.
be
You
in
don't
the
want to be
basement.
not locked in the basement for 10 years with your friends. Like, and so, but it is those little things where you're just kind of like, to me, there's not a lot of forethought. It was kind of like, oh, this is the way in. This is how I can do this.
Yeah.
Financially, I need that. Okay. Like, that's
Done.
the move then. Now we're interns. Like,
Yeah.
Done. And I do feel like, yeah, I mean, from there, you and I, Sam, I don't know, we just like kicked it off, but we had such like close backgrounds, and then the way that we were like yinging and yanging, that's good.
Sure,
each
yeah.
other.
I like that. I like it as an action verb. I like that.
And now
Yeah.
I think that we've really completed each other, and we work as one. And I am a writer
You are.
now.
Yes.
Thank you.
And a dancer.
Becky Chicoine. Yeah.
For sure.
God,
Oh,
I'm a dancer.
a dancer dances. I've always been a
There she
dancer.
Yeah.
A dancer. A dancer's
A
but my
dancer.
friend, our bit in like this one woman, we had to work front desk at the church like parish when my mom was like assistant to the pastor, which is incredible. But our
Perfect,
friend
yeah.
Michelle, yeah, literally like a liturgical dancer came in and was like, I'm looking for a liturgical dancing position. And our friend Michelle just she goes, yeah, I can tell you have a dancer's body. And I don't think my sister and I have ever fell out harder. And then like it was like also the church people, they weren't like laughing. And my sister and I are dying. This is like a liturgical dance person to say you have a dancer's body. I think of it all the time.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah, I can tell.
You have a dancer's
Probably tell by
body.
my dancer's body, yeah.
That I'm gonna go do hand motions to like take my candle. Like
Yeah, I'm also really picturing a dancer at a church. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
I like the word liturgical.
Liturgical.
it's a good
It's a nice
word.
word.
There's not a lot of TGs in language. Literature.
liturgical. Yeah, I like that. That's
Liturgical.
beautiful.
Yeah, okay, now I kind of riffed. But okay, and this is kind of an example of the process.
This is an example. We'd write this down because this is hilarious.
We're all like, but like what I think is so fun about duos specifically is at least what I've found is like working either with Sudi, which Becky has as well, and like we're working with Tim. Like I find my edges so much easier
Yes.
and have that permission to go back into my own work. And so I don't always do it, but I think being in a duo is so sharpening and so like helps you be so self-aware so quickly because it's a mirror you trust in that way.
Yes. I also think it like I feel like we're both really good at giving each other feedback, or like we just understand nothing is personal. And if we have like an argument about something, or not an argument, if we like, oh, this, I don't know if how that works. It's like, great, it's off the table. Let's find something better. Like moving on, easy. I don't feel like I don't know how if we've ever had to like fight each other on a joke to be like, I think I really believe in this. And
Yeah,
I don't think that has ever
I
happened.
don't think so.
Yeah. But that being said, it's nice because you just like learn, oh yeah, let's just keep going. Let's just like, and it's a mini writer's room. That's, I guess, what it is, obviously. Right?
Yeah.
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 Also, when you like decide to like branch out or do your own thing, is that a conversation? Like, is that a logistical thing of like, I'm going to do this on my own? Like, Sam, you have your podcast, or like when you've done shows with Sudi, is that a dynamic? Because I always think like when you have a partnership, it is so intimate and it is so like a relationship in your life.
I think it just requires communication like any relationship. Because before Becky and I started working together, I was in a different duo that was toxic. Okay. And it was
And
bad.
if that was the name of the duo.
Toxic. I wish.
That would have been good. I'm not going to say it on here, but yeah, it was not good. We didn't communicate. She held grudges. Then she ghosted me. It was rough. And so coming to this duo, already our communication was just so much better because we were making comedy together easily, and that was not happening. Let's just say before, she would be like, you write your lines and then I'll improvise mine. It was never like a collaboration. So coming
Interesting.
to work together, it was like, oh, we're writing everything down. We're doing the scene, we're saying it out loud, and then we're like, oh, that's good. And then you know, you started doing theme party with Sudi, and I think that was a conversation, and you were like, I'm always going to bring you into it when I can. And then eventually I was like a co-host. And I think there's just like an understanding of like, okay, yeah, I'm going to go off and do this thing. I'm going to tell you about it. And then when it makes sense for us to collaborate with it, that's definitely going to happen. But I need to explore it with this other person, or I need to just try it on my own and see how it goes. And we're always very supportive of each other. Like, I'm Becky's #1 fan, you know?
And I'm Sam's #1 fan. That's the thing. It's like, I love Shitty Craft Club, and I love the things that Sam does on her own. I love all of that stuff. So it's like, it makes sense. And imagine a world without Shitty Craft Club, or imagine a world without your podcast. Like, why would we have that? You know? So like, whenever a duo, because I know that there's definitely like Sam's had an early one, but there's lots of toxic duos, and there's jealousy can get involved. And not to say that hasn't ever happened, but like, that we don't need it, because there's enough space for everybody to have everything, as long as there's communication. But I do feel, I remember early on, Sam, you came to me, I remember this in my room in Graham Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what I'm going to say?
Yeah.
And you were like, we need to have a conversation. What's your priority? And I was like,
that's hot.
What do you mean?
That was hot.
sitting on my bed. And then, no. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You are. But even from then, it wasn't like you saying like, you have to choose OSFUG, or I don't even know what I was doing, or mod over us. It was just like, I want to make sure that we're always going to find stuff to do. I want to make sure that you're in it. And if you're not, let's go. Let's whatever, figure it out. But I also think like that maybe is coming from a place where you being burned before, you know, too.
Yeah, I remember just feeling like, I think there were different, I don't even remember what they were, but there were things popping up that you were doing solo, and then things popping up that I would always involve you in. And I was like, okay, I think if you want to go off and do those things on your own, that's great. But I have this expectation that we're in it together. So I just wanted to clear that up. Right. And then.
Yeah. Which is such a powerful clearing, because then unknown resentment builds if you're not, like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And people think that the clearing itself is like people are so confrontation avoidant, but it's like, no, that's the reason it's successful, is because you address it, you're open and vulnerable about a dynamic that feels like it's being created, and then it clears the path. Like, it's fully easy.
Yeah. That was a really great moment for us, because it wasn't like you can't do anything by yourself. It was just like, let's just always have a conversation. Mm-hmm. Like, let's just always, we don't have to like have secrets. You don't need to feel bad. I don't want to feel like I'm holding that resentment. So it was just like, yeah, I mean, like I've written movies, you know, by myself, or like whatever. And it's always just like, I'm telling Sam about it. And yeah, that was really nice conversation, Sam.
14 years ago today, I sat on your bed in Brooklyn.
Well, how did that feel for you? Because I think, to me, like, when I've had those conversations in duos, like, it is like, to me, it's more intimate than romantic relationships. It is like such a beautiful risk to take. And like, I don't know. I just think, how do you two approach this when you're in off seasons? Do you know what I mean? Because it's
Love that off season.
No, that's so real.
Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah,
it's funny. Like when you're saying our credits, I think I sometimes get in my head. I'm like, oh well, it's clear where there's like gaps, but you can't be fruitful like every fucking week of the year, you know?
No,
so
you got a crop rotation. Yeah.
So there really are seasons where we're like head down, just doing different shit. And, you know, for a couple of years I was doing craft club stuff, and I have an issue with like separating parts of myself, like musical theater, like, yeah, can't be part of me anymore. Or comedy has to be separate from this like TikTok craft thing I'm doing. And I'm trying to allow myself just to be one now, right?
She's one.
But I just always trust that we're going to like come back together, and we're always going to make something.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I think the thing is like whenever one of us has a thought, and maybe I'm speaking for you, Sam, but if we have a thought for a creative, like a film or a sketch or whatever, like, oh, is this a girls with brown hair thing? Like, let's think about that. How can I? And if it isn't, that's okay. Yeah. But it's also like, that would be fun. Because that's the thing. It's more fun to write together.
Sure.
That's what it ultimately is. It's not like, oh, I'm trying to force this, but it's just that we have more fun doing it together. You know, like, why not have more fun? Why not have more fun?
Oh.
Have you thought about that?
Think about it.
hey, here's a pitch. But
Why not?
my thing is, what excites me for people to hear is because it's like, God, like I've been in toxic, like creative partnerships. We've all been in it, but I think it really deters people from continuing in them and helping that part of them grow, because it's like the most toxic ones will be like me trying to pitch an idea, me bringing like, hey, will this work for us? And then someone being like, well, it's our idea, so you can never. It's like, what? Like,
Right.
And it's like, you're just trying to see where this resonates. If somebody wants to work on something, like if somebody wants to create something, and it's like when people's identity is so precious to that sort of creation, there's no room to grow or mess around or find out what it could actually look like.
Totally.
And it's tough. I find it more, I don't know about you guys, but I find it more with actors because they've had less experience eating shit and fucking up than comedians. And I do think I have a bias around all the people I've met that have gone to quote unquote conservatories or like acting schools, because I don't think they have a shot in hell. I think they're taught that they like are perfect and need to be perfect. And it's like, oh, that's a bummer.
No, listen, something that we're good at is when we recognize the energy of a show is off, we muscle through it, and we are, because we have everything so memorized, we can just be like tennis. We're just doing it real fast. We're getting in, we're getting out before people even realized it happened, you know?
Before they even realized.
Yeah, there's definitely like a recognition of like when a crowd is not aligned with what you're doing, right? It's like you can recognize the energy of a crowd really easily after doing live comedy for 10 years.
Maybe the era's over.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely like eras of our shows where we're like, okay, enough of that, and we found the edge of this, so let's move on to the next project because it doesn't feel true to us anymore.
It's so interesting with that because it's like that the whole thing where someone's like, they just don't understand me. It's like, well, no, you need to be funnier. But there is this element combined where it's like you have to have the right audience. Like if you're doing like an alt comic in sort of like a stand-up like bar, like no, they're not gonna hit. Like
brutal.
And then you don't want to like abandon yourself on stage. Like, haha, this like you don't, because you don't feel that. So then you're just like, all right,
let's go, let's finish it, and then go away.
Yeah, wrong room, gotta go take a walk.
I mean, to that end, like most of the live stuff we do now, we'll have like a song written and then we have like an intro or something written around the characters, but the characters are always speaking to the audience. And so we can always be like, this is supposed to be funny. You can, comment on it, whatever. Or, oh my God, wait. I'm also remembering the show we did when you and Sudi and Bowen hosted. Wait, who hosted?
Trying? You guys killed it trying. It was crazy.
Wait, but was so funny
you guys brought the house down.
No, that's so funny you're saying that because we remember it a little bit differently because the way...
Maybe I'm thinking of a different show. Maybe
it was fun. It was a lot of fun. We had a great time. We did our Broadway characters. We did our Thanksgiving Broadway characters. Yeah. And the way we were introduced, because you guys always had celebrities on the show, we were introduced as the biggest Broadway stars, and
people thought that's what they were getting.
Yes, we came out, and it felt like the audience the whole time was trying to figure out, wait, are they famous?
What are they from?
Are they characters? And I feel like we were like, to be clear.
Okay, wait. I do think I'm remembering now because you did kill it a show, but that show, no, people were trying to figure it out.
They weren't listening. They were like, "What show is this from? What Broadway show is this from?"
Remember how like Lauren had made like a floodlight? I remember like at one point like Sam getting close to it, being like, "My light, can you guys see me?"
Okay, but this is so funny. I think that this also speaks to how we sort of like adjusted our sets now, which is that we're like, okay, when we're like, we obviously have so much fun doing these characters, but sometimes it's really jarring for people in the audience to be like, stand up to women in a wig. What's going on? So we've been like, okay, how can we incorporate more of ourselves into our sets now? Because again, that's like something I'm trying to work on. Becky's always really good at it. So I want to absorb some of that. And we lead with ourselves first now, where we're like, hi, we're Becky and Sam. This is what we're doing. We're best friends. We have a little song for it. And we'll make the audience vote on the wigs we're using. Like we make it more interactive and like
that's really fun.
Kind of a transition into us being fully insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I feel like hear that, folks, because it's like one of my recent favorite books, Darren Brown, I'm obsessed with him, The Mentalist.
Oh, love that.
But he wrote, his most recent book was on showmanship, right? It was on like what you need to do to create the framing, to create the ability for people to be impressed, to be on board. And I think those little nuances, those details of involving them changes everything. I think that's so powerful.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I also think like, again, with just us sort of evolving, we love doing characters. We're never not going to want to do characters. But then with the short, not to bring it back, we were like, let's explore stuff for ourselves that's closer to things we play, because we've written obviously like a bunch of pilots and trying to have it be for somebody else, and we're like, wait a minute, we just need to focus on stuff for ourselves that is like actually marketable and things we can sell. And then when that gets sold, then in 5 years we can go back and make the Thanksgiving special.
Right.
It's a long game.
Yeah, it's a long game.
But yeah, it is also, I think, really fulfilling to kind of lock in to us as like friends and just our relationship over the past 10 plus years and be like, okay, what are the stories that we can tell as ourselves, and how do we translate that into a play, which we're working on, into another short, into a feature, into a TV show. And that is ultimately just like, I don't know, a type of storytelling I'm like really loving for us, because our writing style is so fun and I think unique. So it does translate really well. And I don't know, I think it's a new era for us that we're moving into now, which is really exciting.
I agree, and I think it's exciting, and to the point of like you guys getting to dance with the audience, but also be yourselves. It just also shows how good you are at what you do, of like running the room. Because I even think there was a moment when you put it on this stage, right? And there's a cacophonous moment where, Becky and Sam have this like goofy intimacy, and there's some exposure going on. And like the way you guys handed up and led into it. Yeah, that's what I'll call it. Delicate. But the way you guys led up into it was so funny, because it wasn't even breaking a fourth wall. Like at one point, Becky was like, Michael Wolff's in the room, I can't do that. And the whole room like exploded, because it was like, Michael Wolff is in the room. Oh my God, like you're here with us. But it wasn't like a turn to camera. And I think the way you guys can be dropped into your characters that way does feel inviting and intimate. And I'm excited to see how that evolves, because it was so smooth. Like the way you two were just kind of like in the room, but being the characters. It was exciting.
Here's a twist.
Well,
we planned those.
We did write that down. When we rehearsed, I was like, Michael Wolff's going to be there, so I'll say his name.
Yeah, that's funny.
See? I'm so glad I said something.
Yeah,
Genius.
There's another moment in the Thanksgiving show where, what am I talking about when I call my dad out? Oh, I say,
Uncle Gary.
No,
it's like getting eaten out. What was that bit?
Men.
I'm sorry, pause before you even say this. My dad was there, and so my dad thing. What was it about getting eaten out?
Wait, very quickly. We keep saying Broadway characters in Thanksgiving shows. Sam and I have this show called the 1947 Thanksgiving Special, and it's just a parody of Christmas specials, but it's about Thanksgiving, and we're Broadway's 40s stars.
Smart. Yeah.
Good Mid-Atlantic gals.
We're like fully in it. There are moments where we talk to the audience, but there's a moment where I say, men, can't live with them, can't make them, each out. And then the audience laughs for 10 and a half minutes. And at some point in there, I go, oh no, I just made eye contact with my father. And that
incredible
always gets a huge laugh, even if he's not in the room. Do you know what I mean?
Of course. Incredible. Also, too, because it's like, it brings Sam into it, right? It's like, it's not a 1947, it's like easy to be like, oh no, I just made that's so fun.
We do very specifically write down and plan any sort of fourth wall dropping bits. And we very sparingly, it's usually only once or twice during a show, but like,
because you're good at it. How many times you can.
We also learned that from Josh and Aaron.
We talk about this all the time, and I swear to God, if we tell them when I connect with them again, I'm gonna be like, do you know that we do this because of you guys? Or maybe I did tell them that this year, and they were like, what are you talking about? They were doing
I can see them. I was like, okay.
Okay. They were doing fucking identical twins at UCB at the same time we also had to show up, and in the show, they're the funniest people in the world, and that show's amazing.
For the listeners, Josh Sharp and Aaron Jackson did a show that was turned into the movie Dicks, the musical, which you should see now.
Where they make Nathan Lane spit ham into a cage.
It's a perfect movie.
No context.
This is actually this podcast is not about our short. It's actually for that movie.
Yeah, it's for Dick's. That came
It's
out 2
promoting
years ago.
Dick's. Yeah.
Yeah. But they were they had a spank at UCB at the same time in 2016, 2015.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
and they were so funny. And there were moments in the show, like once or twice, where they would break and they would laugh as themselves. And backstage one day, we were like, God, that's so funny. We at that part where you guys break, because we had seen it so many times because we would like be on the same hour as them or whatever. And they said, oh, we wrote that in. We were like, what?
You can do anything.
You can do that? Yeah.
Oh, but it's permission. I love that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, it's smart. And we've taken that to heart. We're like, yeah, okay, we know. And hey, I don't want to take down the clown community. Okay. And this is not what it's about, but
Take it.
Not going to do it. But I do think it has to be used obviously very, very sparingly, or it can,
Gets to be too
get a little
much.
tiresome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, having gone to Fringe, the way I learned so quickly about the clown community.
I know. I don't want to make any enemies. Okay.
I don't want no clowns as enemies.
I don't
See, the clown community, like, they don't know I'm crazy. So it's like, come for me. Come for me. You think you're willing to do something? Baby. No,
Mo's
you're
always
not.
going to win. Okay.
Baby, I'm like, I have the bottle to my head. I'm like, try me.
so funny. I've got the bottle to my head.
Did you see that one tweet that kills me every time? And it's like, it's like a trigger warning. It's about like suicide, but it's like someone who was like, have you ever thought about killing yourself in front of a group of bros to forever change the trajectory of their friendship?
That's
It made me
so
laugh so
funny.
hard.
That's so
Wow. I love that.
It made me laugh so hard when I first read it.
And you're like,
That's so
now I'm
unhinged.
thinking about it.
It's so funny because you just imagine like this, like bro's like, "What's up? Hey,
Bro.
and it's like some
Wow.
god. It's and again, it's
Okay, new
problematic
one-woman
maybe.
show.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I
That's
play
it.
all the
Yeah.
guys. It was so weird because Kyle acted different after that.
I'm ready.
Hell yeah.
It has nothing to do with the person that died. It's just all about them.
Absolutely. It's like Yellow Jackets, but for the bros.
I still haven't watched that. I need to.
You don't need to.
I heard. Is it horny? I heard,
No.
I like horny.
It could be
things.
way hornier.
Okay.
It could be way hornier. You know
When
what's
there's a
horny?
missed opportunity. What?
Tiny, pretty things. It's on Netflix.
That sounds like Uncle Horny. That's crazy.
It's on
Tiny
Netflix?
Pretty Things.
Is it? I think that's what it's called. Tiny Pretty Things. It's on Netflix. It's a ballet show. It's a ballet mystery drama. Our friend Rachel Winitsky is the one who recommended it to me, and I'm like,
Okay,
this
she has
is
good taste.
softcore porn. Nice.
Good to know, Rachel.
But they're in high school, so I don't like that. But they're all
But
30s.
are they actors that are?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
okay.
yeah,
then
they're
I'll
all
watch that.
30.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Anyway.
psychotically, I like have so many more questions, but we're kind of zooming to the end of the pod.
We're zooming to the end.
We can do rapid fire.
We're zooming to the we can put rapid fire. So when you were 6, but my end segment is called "Thank You for Holding My Poems," and I'm excited for duos because I think all duos do or hold poems.
Yeah.
And poems are abstract. It is based off the Russian poet Anna Akhmatova. During revolution and the Great Terror in Russia, it was illegal to publish her poems. So their writing group, her female friends, would memorize edits of her poem. And over the course of 30 years, different like iterations, they would hold for each other in their heads
Whoa.
until it was legal to publish. And to me, as artists, that is our job, is to not only bring a poem unfinished that we don't think is good to our friends, to our collaborators, but to hold the edits for each other. And so I always zoom it out abstractly, and I think a poem can be a moment where, like, you know, someone just said, like, hey, I like your jacket, or like something that made you feel seen and like you want it to be in the world or exist and creative and intimate in that way. So I would love for you two to bring any poem moments that you'd love to shed light on, or and Becky, you're right, the earlier one is a poem energy.
Poem energy. But I think like within the two of us, and here's the thing, I'm a long-time listener of the pod. And every time this question comes up, I'm like, what would I say? And I have never thought of anything, but then I really force myself to think about it. Because
I love this.
With Sam and I, though, there's so many things we could say because we're constantly telling each other stories, and we're like, oh, that's good. Let's use that in this scene or whatever. I'm going to go a little bit probably abstract and also like genuine. And in that I think Sam is like very good at encouraging my queerness. And this is now the second time I'm coming out as queer in a podcast. No, but I wouldn't.
And that is where you have to do it to make it legal. Yeah.
For the attention, obviously. No, I don't even think I sort of feel when I bristle a bit when I say that. But like, you have always been like, what do you think about that? And I'm like, whatever, shut up, But like, I feel like you're the only one who's really always been like, let's talk about it. And what do you think? And no pressure or whatever. And I think that's really beautiful. So thank you, Sam.
You're welcome. And I will continue to compliment your gay outfits. You wear them so beautifully.
Thank you so much. Exactly. It's just because, it's mostly because I wear big shirts.
But it does take a delicate poem holder to affirm someone and see them, but without the expectation of knowing or being anything. Like that is really beautiful.
Yeah, because I simply would also really never say that I'm queer because I do have a straight husband and we're monogamous, but
But it
Uh-oh.
doesn't matter.
Thank you. See? There we go. Just did it again. Yeah.
But guess what? Yeah, that's
what?
an edit. And Sam's holding the edits of the poem, right?
That's an edit right there.
Because it's like you do have to go through these moments of like, am I valid in this way? Am I enough this? Am I too much this? And it's like you do need someone around you being like, sure, maybe. I don't know. I like that edit. I like that. That one, redo. Like
that's beautiful. Yeah, that's really beautiful.
Yeah, and I think that is some of our lore. When we first started performing, people thought we were a couple, and I think that was pre me realizing I was queer. So it was that's funny to me.
Exactly. Quite literally, the first sketch we did together was called Scissor Sisters. Yeah. And we were
powerful.
Two women in their 60s, which is classic for us. Two women in their 60s.
That is.
Quietly crafting with scissors. And
that's so
obviously
fun.
Making it like sexual, but like that was it.
Vanya just absolutely ran out.
Vanya. Good for Vanya.
Yeah. His food dropped, but cute.
Oh,
yeah. Sure. Yeah. Wait, Scissor Sisters, but it's also like you do like there is a queer intimacy in what you do, but people don't know about like platonic intimacy in that way, right?
Yeah.
Like people don't explore that. And there is that I think you guys have navigated beautifully of just like finding your own queerness individually, but as partners and holding each other. Like that's something that's so exposing to do. And you've done it so beautifully for each other.
Yeah.
Hey. Thanks. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Okay, your turn. Poems.
Oh, my poems.
See, yeah.
So, okay, two things sort of come to mind, but I think that they are connected. There's the first time, this is funny, the first time you had asked to do one of our characters alone.
Was it Rhonda Turtle?
I don't even know what it was.
Love that sentence.
It was probably Thanksgiving woman.
Maybe it doesn't even matter. I just remember having this moment first of like panic of like, well, that's not fair. And then having it a second to be like, no, I think that's great. They can live however they want. And I trust Becky to do them justice, and she can do whatever she wants with them. Like that. There was just like a moment of like, yeah, go for it. I can't wait to see that. And yeah, just like it was just like a really, there are moments of like where the trust like settles in even deeper throughout the partnership. And I think that is one of them. But the other that comes to mind was it's a pit full of snakes, but we call it a zoo.
I also was thinking that.
Oh, I already love that you guys have a tagline for the story.
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
It's just like I think the first time we absolutely lost our shit together, like on stage and off. Like anytime we said it, like couldn't keep it together.
It was one of our first sketch shows, and it was part of like a transition song, and it's a pit full of snakes and we call it a zoo. It's our number one obsession. And it's like,
what is that? Is that a song you wrote?
Yes. It was part of like this town called Woman Town, and they saying that they had a zoo, but it was just a pit full of snakes.
Pit of snakes. I don't know.
Oh, that's so funny. I thought it was a metaphor. I thought like it's a pit, life is a pit full of snakes, but you call it a zoo. Yeah.
You would think it could be a metaphor, but no, it's quite literally exactly what it is. Pit full of snakes, and we call it a zoo.
Sister. Oh, that makes me so happy. Because it is those little like, and like you can say that to each other at any moment and like, no, you know what I mean? That connective.
Yeah.
Should it? Maybe it should be a metaphor.
It is a metaphor.
It is now.
Yeah.
Honey.
The industry is a pit full of snakes.
True.
And they call it a zoo. They
Yeah,
say we're
they-
diverse. We got everything here. No, baby, you got snakes.
You just got only snakes.
Only snakes. That's it.
Mama.
All types.
And I am one. Hiss. Let's go.
Cute.
Uh-oh. Wait, I'm thinking of one more. That's really gorgeous. One more. I was thinking of one more thing for us for poems. Just like whenever we think of a new idea, we always title it at the end comedy.
That's great.
Abortion road trip comedy.
Comedy.
Sleepover
Apocalypse
comedy. The original title for our short was Apocalypse Buddy Comedy. Like we can't.
I think that's so funny. If you get a movie made that gets that, that's so funny.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, that makes when I just think of movie made comedy too, though, I remember like 2016 when any comedian or writer was getting 1,000 generals with like Fox, and it'd be like, "What's your movie?" And I remember that's what I learned about 4 quadrants.
Yeah,
and where it's like for listeners, it's like what viewers are watching. It's like either whatever, I don't even remember. But this one guy was like, "So what are your ideas?" And I had these great ideas, and he was like, "Okay, all right. Well, we're looking for something in 4 quadrants, and kind of like, have you seen Keanu? Yeah, Keanu's out right now." I was like, "The cat."
God.
And he was like, "This is a major executive," and I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, in what way are you looking for that?" He's like, "Kind of just like another Keanu. Would you want to write?" I was like, "Oh, then why did you have me do a pitch? Like, what?" And it's like, I want a Keanu comedy. It's hell.
Keanu comedy.
Hell. Keanu comedy.
Oh, yeah.
Another Keanu comedy.
I mean, all the time when we're pitching things and the feedback comes in where it's like, it's hard for women to write stupid content because they want it to always be about the Supreme Court or, you know,
our bodies.
or
Yes.
trauma. So it's really hard to make stupid comedy. And even when we try, it still has meaning because it is obviously more fulfilling to make it meaningful, but it is fucked.
But that's what Sudi and I always talk about. We want to make a Talladega. Like, let us be dumb as fuck.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Evan, you ain't first, you last.
Exactly.
Where's our Detroiters, you know?
Thank you.
Baby. And it's on its way. Go to Tribeca this spring, and you'll get to see Apocalypse Festy comedy.
Thank you.
Well, I love you both so much.
Love you.
And
Love you.
Can you drop the socials or where people can find you besides Tribeca?
Yeah.
Sure can. My personal one, just my first and last name, Becky Chicoine, Instagram, TikTok. Sam.
I'm at Sam Reece TV now.
Instagram, TikTok.
Fun.
Yeah.
And then for together, what is it? GWBH Comedy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what it is on Instagram. You can get your Tribeca tickets there in that link.
Yeah.
And I
Bio.
finish every pod by giving both of my listeners and you two a compliment. And I always say, "Oh my God, you're so pretty."
Oh my God.
You're so pretty.
Thank you. You're
You're
so pretty.
Yay!
Worse Than You with Mo Fry Pasick is hosted by me, Mo Fry Pasick. You can learn more about this week's guest and the Worse Than You team by checking out the show and episode copy. Worse Than You with Mo Fry Pasick is executive produced by Erica Ghetto, Mariah Gossett, and Lauren Mandel for Good Get and Disco Nap Productions. Oh my God, you're so pretty.
I claim.
I claim.
Yes,
I claim Siren.
Drop a heart to claim this.
This is urgent.